Hi everyone, it's Louise here with my 144 topics, and this week's topic is about women in business and being a woman in business and being a single mum on and off. So I thought it was a pretty good topic because it relates to some of us pretty well. And I've just put a blog together and I was talking about the Good Wife Guide of 1955. So worth checking out and having a read. That, you know, the woman's job there was to make sure the kids are clean and they're clean. You put on your lippy, you know, you'd be happy smiling, get his slippers warmed up and all that sort of thing. And the fact of the matter is we just do not live like that anymore. So, you know, I know lots of single mums who run successful businesses or, you know, just are working for themselves. And in most households, mum and dad are actually working. So in my blog, I've done some tips and I'm just going to run through some of those tips in regards to, you know, what can you do to make your life easier as a working mum. So the first one I've got is self-care. Self-care is so important. Like, you know, you tend to find that when you fall, then everything falls with it. So, you know, we are often the pillars of the family. We're the ones that sort of hold it all together and sort things out, and so it's really important that you put yourself first. And even when you're working in business, like if you put yourself first, that reflects in that. So one of the books I wrote was Diary of a Wimpy Businesswoman, and I wrote that because business wasn't going so well. And I basically documented myself for 60 days, writing, journaling, just really exploring what was happening. And the end result of that was that every single day when I practiced self-care practices or I did things that valued myself, it actually then reflected on my business. So really important that the first thing on the list is always self-care. So just make time to meditate, make time to relax, make time to do things that make you feel good. So I like to walk along the beach. Sometimes I run on the beach. I will do self-talk. I will do IM exercises. I will do releasing techniques. You know, I will do something to make myself feel good. And also, you know, then you're sort of pre-paving the day. You're laying out your day. You're sort of planning what you're doing for your day. And you're just connected to yourself, and then when you're connected to yourself, everything else is going to flow so much better. So step one is always self-care. The second tip I've got here is the fact that you are not a slave. Okay, we don't live in the 1955s. We don't have to put on a persona and pretend to be beautiful and fabulous. You know, we're just people working. We have busy, chaotic, crazy lives with, you know, things going crazy. So just know that you're not a slave. Every person who lives in the household is part of the household, and everybody has, you know, responsibilities that they can do. So, you know, we've had rosters. It's nice getting to the age where my kids are growing up now and going, but you know, when there was 5 kids there or 3 kids or 2 kids, you know, you roster it. Why should I have to cook every night? I don't, you know, someone else can do it. So, and it's good for them to learn. So, you know, you give them opportunities to learn. And sometimes you get baked beans on toast, and that's just the way it is, because it's not your turn to cook, it's someone else's turn to cook, and that's what they're choosing to cook you. So just honor that, and just know that, you know, you are not there to, you know, for everybody's whim. Yes, we're mothers. Yes, we're working. Yes, we are there to provide for our children and to make sure their needs are met. But we're also not their slaves. Next tip, do what you love. It's really important to do what you love, you know, to find something during the week or something that you love to do. I love to dance. I go to dancing classes. So just giving myself that 2 hours a week, just, it carries a lot of weight. So it just makes everything beautiful. And even if you're working in a job that you don't like and it's not what you want to do, just give yourself time, allocate yourself time, learn with management, time management, and I'm happy to help with anyone with that, in just setting out, you know, a routine and setting out ways or strategies where you can do what you love to do. Whether it's painting, whether it's what, it doesn't matter what it is. If you love it and you're valuing yourself. So as soon as you value yourself, then business is going to reflect accordingly. Quality time. So it's important to have quality time with family. one of my other tips here, tip number 7, is about family meetings. So let's talk about 7 first. So, you know, we would often have meetings, we would call meetings, we would all get together, we would discuss what's happening, we would discuss changes in living arrangements, working arrangements, what was happening, just to let everybody know what's going on. So, you know, in those family meetings, ask the children, what is it that you want? And it's really interesting that, you know, when we had 5 children there and we would say, what would you like to see more of? What is quality time for you? They would say things like, go for a family outing, go to the movies, go and have a picnic. So it's really easy to please the family if you're getting them together, having a bit of a get together, and just working out little goals that you can do. So, okay, this month we're going to do this, next month we're going to do this, you know, weekly, monthly, whatever works for you, but it gives everybody a time to, you know, to look forward to something. So even with the family meetings, when the kids were younger, the youngest said, I'm calling a meeting. And we all had to go. We all had to go to the meeting. We sat down for the meeting, and then he goes, I forgot. So we had a discussion about other things. So, and it also allows everybody to be heard. So, you know, when you've got the family meeting, you can ask everybody, you know, what's your issues at the moment, you know, and I always like to end my family meetings with, what would you like to see happening? What, you know, what changes would you like to see? You know, it doesn't always happen, but at least everyone's getting an opportunity to be heard and to be validated, and for their opinion, their whatever it is, just coming across. Next tip I've got here, number 5, is meal times. Like, create a time where you can all sort of get together. And, you know, people work shift work, people work late, people work, you know, we work different hours. If you can allocate a 30-minute window where it's like, you know, TV's off, no phones, no phone calls, no computer, you know, and you just basically sit down and have a meal, or you just sit down and just create some time where you can get togetherness happening. So important, really important. And if you can't do it every night, then maybe you can do it weekly and do a Sunday dinner or something where you actually create a routine. And when you start creating these routines, you'll find that your family members will be picking up the same ideas, because it impacts them quite largely. They'll, you know, my kids have said, you know, Mum, I really like this, I'm going to do that with my family. So do that. Create some share time. We'll call that share time. Number 6, make sure you get lots of adequate rest. Eat healthily, sleep. That could be a big topic, and I've got many videos about eating healthy, so check some of those out. But it's really important that you get adequate rest. You know, kids will get cranky if they're up too late. I get cranky if I'm up too late. So make sure you've got time just to rest and to relax and to sleep, because that's just going to make everything, you're just going to get less reactive. Family meetings, number 7, we've spoke about that. Number 8 is know that you are the adult. There are times where it's not a discussion. This is the house rules, this is the way that this family runs. It's not a discussion. You know, we have rules in our house, and you know, you make the mess, you clean it up. Just because it teaches people to be responsible. It teaches children to look out after themselves. You know, you, as I said, for number 2, you're not a slave. So sometimes there are discussions that need to happen. It's really important for the adult or the adults in the family to be on the same side, because if one is saying yes and the other saying no, the kids can just get in there and it can all be crazy. So you want things to run smoothly, because you're a busy woman running your business, doing your business thing. So make sure that you and your partner are on side first, come to a compromise, work out the situation, and then present it to the rest of the family. This is the way it is, not a discussion. And, you know, it could be still, you know, an example is, you know, damaging the property is not, that's not a discussion. It's not happening. End of story. Okay, create consequences. Now this is quite interesting when you're having your little get-togethers. You know, say, okay, well, if you don't do the dishes on that time, or if you don't feed the dogs on the allocated time, what are the consequences that you are going to choose to, you know, because of that? And the kids often choose worse consequences than what you would. But that's their choice. They're giving themselves consequences, but you have to stick by those. That's the the boundaries that have been put in place, so make sure you stick them. And of course that comes back to the adults as well, because we pick consequences for not following our actions, and the kids will be very quick to jump in there and say, you're not in integrity, you haven't said what you're going to do, you've got to follow through the consequences, and you do. You do have to follow through with your consequences because you've picked them and that's what you've agreed to do. And that also teaches them that, that it's okay. Sometimes we can mess up. We'll adjust ourselves accordingly. We will live by our word and integrity and follow our consequences, and we'll endeavour not to do it again. And that's okay. That's okay. And the last one is about presence. Really, really important. Self-care and presence would probably be the most two important ones, I believe, on my little tips here, because it's really important for you to be present. So we all want presence. Women want presence in their partners, children want presence in their parents. So if you're on your phone, and I did a video about this a few weeks ago, you're on your phone and you're talking, okay, that's not being present. Put your friggin' phone down, put the book down, put whatever it is that you're down, and just look, be there, be present. It doesn't have to take a long time, and it can take a short time. I mean, I'm sure you've seen kids going, Mum, 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 Mum. And you're still distracted or talking to someone or doing something else, when you just need to stop and say yes, be present, listen, see what it is that needs addressing at the time, tell them the time frame that you can address that, and then just move on. So we all need that presence. Very, very important. The kids need it, we need it, our partners need it. So creating time in that, the share time is not just share time for family. It can also be share time with your partners, date nights and doing something or having something in your life that, again, it's good for the kids to be aware that, mum and dad need time too. So those are my tips here for about women in business. I've chosen to focus on making the family unit running better, because when that's running better, it's less strain on you. And it's really important that you allocate time. So we've had things like, like past 7 o'clock, computers off, that's it. You need to stop working. And the thing about being in business and running your own business is that you can tend to work and work and work and work. And that's all very well, but in the meantime, the kids are growing up. You're not being present for them. They're not, you're not there for them. And, that is really important, because you can't turn the clocks back on that time. So that's my topic. This is the last topic for the International Women's Month. Talking about women in business. If you want any help with creating strategies and putting things in place, I've got lots of tips. Check out my blogs, louiseplant.com.au/blog. Just contact me, and I'm happy to spend some time with you to help put these strategies in place. These have been working for me. The oldest child's 25. So they work. It makes everything, that people know where they stand. They also know what you're doing, where you're going, even with business things. And even I've sat the kids down when I've had really profound changes and transitions in my life, and I really want to share it with them, because it will encourage them to do the same for their kids. But it also encourages them to say, look, this is really important to me. I want to share it with everybody. This is a family share time or a family meeting topic, which is great. And that gives them the space to be heard. So, and just to sum up, the most important thing, as I said in my diary there, the diary of a wimpy businesswoman, is the fact that, the more that you're feeling good, that you're doing what you love, you're passionate, you're happy, the more business will flow for you. Because, do you want to go and take your business to a grumpy bum? Not really. You want to ideally be taking to your business to someone who's doing it, and you're feeling the good feelings from. So, until then, next week, have a fabulous week. I will catch you then. Seeing you always in happiness and health. Feel free to contact me if you got any questions or want any help with anything. Otherwise, you have a fantastic time, and I will talk to you next time. See you, bye.